Yes.
Yeah.
I'd like to call this meeting of the Madison Public Schools Board of Education to an opening. And we have a flag on this side tonight with the Pledge of Allegiance. Also, order thank you, the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, next thing on the agenda, as always, is our full community session and any public participation.
Do we have any members online or we have no one in person? Thank you.
Thank you. Next up is the superintendent's report.
Thank you.
Take it away.
Thank you, Chairman Kluskin. So a huge milestone in the elementary school construction tonight. This is approval of the second round of purchases. It's the biggest throughout the process. And so we had a presentation last board meeting from Colliers and Tecton on this. I know we have Adam Levitis with us. I see him online. The board received the purchasing information, and so we are looking for the board's approval later on the agenda. That's really all I want to say. We normally would not have a regular meeting tonight, but we had several items that were very timely, so that's why we had our regular meeting. So see that it's just kind of the bare bones of what we need to do.
So can I ask procedurally, should we, if anybody has any questions, should we open them up while we have Adam on? Rather than making him wait until we get to the action item, or?
It's going to stick to the action item because I think it would be so short. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for your brief report. If you blinked, you missed it.
Yes.
Okay. Board member comments. Any board member comments? Any other board members want to say anything? I would like to point out a couple items of really good news that we got lately, recently, and one is that this board will be receiving a Board of Distinction Award at the CAPS conference at the end of this week. And those are not easy to come by. And I congratulate all the members of the board for all your good, excellent hard work that you put into this. And it's a worthy award. And secondly, and this is probably more important, as we've been talking about at board meetings and committee meetings lately, our test scores and a lot of our other indicators have been up lately, and it's especially coming out of COVID. We had a great transition as a district, and our kids have been doing really well. Our teachers have been instrumental in that, our administrators, all of our support staff, and as a result, not only are all 5 of our schools recently named state schools of distinction, but we also have, by chance, been rated the highest possible rating. We're number 1 on the next generation schools accountability report with the state. So technically, we are number 1, and I say that with a little bit of caution because staying at the top is harder than getting to the top, and I would expect that there's one school's the best one year, another school's the best the next year. So we might be at number 5 or 7 or 3 next year, but that is not in any way, shape, or form to diminish the great work that happens here, the great learning that happens here. I think it is worthy of mention and a little bit of accolades to our staff and administrators for the hard work that it takes to get there. And even if we're in the top 10, whatever, that is rarefied air, and everybody should be proud of that. And I just want the community to know, and I think the board's very proud of that too. Thank you. Okay, any other board member comments? Okay. Audience response to information presented. None. Item 5, the consent agenda. I have an action item and I need a motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
That's by Emily,
Second.
seconded by Dahir. Thank you. Any discussion? No discussion, all in favor, aye. Opposed, nay. Any abstentions? Motion carries 8-0. Our next action item is a motion to approve the Phase 2 general construction package and authorize the project to proceed with state final plan review and subsequent bidding. Now, I need a motion and a second, and I'm going to open it to discussion. Whereupon, if anybody has any questions for Adam, who's joining us by Zoom, I invite you to raise those questions at that time. Can I get a motion? I'll move. Stephen, can I get a second? Let's go with Emily as chair of facilities. Okay. Any discussion?
Yeah, I do. So, thank you for an extremely detailed report. I couldn't even begin to evaluate all of the technical details inside of it. So I just have like 2 high-level questions, which is, was there anything that unexpected that we found in the soil and the water table and anything else? And then secondly, how do the numbers, the budget numbers that you prepared compare to what we had previously, and are we still on track?
Both good questions. So
You're muted, sorry.
Hold on. Adam, go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Nope, can't hear him.
Hold on, guys, hold on.
Is he muted?
No, he's not, hang on, guys.
No, just-
Give it a second. You're gonna have to listen through this. Tech gave me the wrong laptop. All right, Adam, talk really loud.
And slow for me.
What about now?
That's good.
Yeah.
Good.
Perfect. Okay. So both good questions. With regard to the existing soils, there was an initial, as part of any state project or state grant funded project, and as part of typical due diligence, you do an environmental assessment of report. That was done, as well as a comprehensive geotechnical study, test pits and borings, etc., conducted by Tecton, the architect. Nothing particularly abnormal was found as part of those criteria, whether it be pesticides that's evaluated, the soil composition, things of that nature. So nothing that jumped out to such a point that there wasn't even a phase 2 required as part of the phase 1 assessment. So insofar as no one has x-ray vision across the entire site, all the typical due diligence showed no issues with the existing soil as we proceed into the next into construction. With regard to the budget, there's the estimate that was provided as part of this authorization package. It's the same estimate that was compiled as part of the value engineering exercise that the school building committee undertook last month. That's just the Gilbane portion of it. When we did the reconciliation meeting, there's the Gilbane estimate and the reviewer underneath Tecton that does an estimate as 2 separate components, and that's what drives the evaluation against the budget. When we do the final form that goes and gets submitted to the state, we just have the construction manager, Gilbane, update their report and incorporate the value engineering. So if anyone were to go back and see the video from the school building committee and the numbers are slightly different, it's just a function of which estimate we chose to finalize a submission to the state. But for all intents and purposes, the budget alignment exercise that the school building committee undertook is the same as what's today, and the project is tracking to be on budget going into bidding for construction. I will report, as was discussed last night at the school building committee, the phase 1 package, if you recall, from a number of months ago, did receive bids, and on aggregate, those bids were favorable underneath the projected estimate thus far. So the contract documents are being evaluated for that, but suffice to say, first step in the direction of getting under contract has been positive as we move forward into the big bidding exercise for the main construction package.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I just want to make clear, I'm sorry if you just said this, but the construction, what's the status of the construction contingency?
The construction contingency on the owner's side of things, the owner's contingency pot, remains the same as it was after the transfer that was conducted at the a number of meetings back at the school building committee. So I don't have the value here offhand as to what that number is, but it's at that the slightly reduced but still a responsible level, if you will, of construction contingency going into the bidding process.
So it's healthy, in other words.
Yes, it's not a bare bones construction contingency by any means, and the school building committee felt it appropriate to continue despite having to take some contingency funds to make the budgets level, so to speak.
Okay.
And when do you foresee that the bidding will go out for the building itself?
So we have a meeting tomorrow with the state as part of the initial review process. That usually takes a couple of weeks to get through, and ultimately the project has to wait for the state's authorization to go out to bid. So currently targeting for somewhere near the end of the month or early December to go out to bid. And then typically the bidding process would be 4 or 5, 6 weeks, depending on the holidays. So in January or so, we would expect to see some numbers and do some of the contract work in February, assuming all goes to plan and there's no hiccups at the state or anything of that nature.
Any other questions?
Actually, so just a question, and I'm not sure if it's too late in the process to ask this, but with regards to the HVAC and the air and the heating system. And I bring this up because I sat on another board and I'm just curious, there's ASHRAE requirements that we have to meet standards. Are we going above and beyond those standards, or with regards to air purification in the building, etc.?
I do know that there are some stringent requirements regarding air quality that are required to be followed, not just for code purposes, but also as part of state grant funded projects. So I don't have the specific standards that were followed for air quality and energy efficiency. I know that at least on the energy efficiency side, the heating systems are far more efficient than baseline criteria. At a minimum, the air quality standards would need to be met. But again, right offhand, I don't have the to what extent we may or may not have exceeded air quality standards. I can ask the design team and report back to the Board of Education. It wouldn't change the bidding documents, but at least that data I can convey back to the Board of Education.
Yeah, if you could just report that back to Craig and he'll report it out to us, that would be greatly appreciated, Adam.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Any other questions, comments? I just want to say I'm the board's liaison to the school building committee, and I've been following very closely as this package has been assembled and as the value engineering back and forth has occurred. And I have to say that I've been very pleased with how the school building committee has been operating, how its decision-making has been going, all the decisions that as a result have been made, and especially with the value engineering and having to comport the budget back to, within the budget, and comport all the specs back to within the budget. All the changes that were made in value engineering were made to materials, like, the glazing, the amount of glass used in certain parts of the building, swapping out slightly cheaper materials in some areas that are not deemed to have an adverse effect on material wear for the most part, some outdoor plantings and landscaping, and things of that nature. And they really very carefully avoided any cuts at all to educational programming. When you consider that the school building committee had to deal with the fact that we learned late after the referendum and after the budget was prepared that we have a higher projection of students than what was originally anticipated for some outcomes. And they have been able to overcome that, ensure that we have the 4 extra classrooms that are needed, and still not cut anything out of educational programming and building spaces is amazing. And that's a great credit to the SBC, the School Building Committee, and I wholeheartedly support this package. And at the same time, I'm optimistic that we're putting bids out at a good time of year, supposedly. If we're lucky and they come back where we hope they'll come back, we may even be able to add back in some of the value, some of the things that were dropped through value add, or things that were made add alternates anyway, or bid alternates. So you know, thank you for all your attention to this as a board. Adam, thank you for all your great work, and especially thanks to the School Building Committee for its work. And you know, I would recommend voting to pass this wholeheartedly. Any other questions or comments? Okay, seeing none, I'd like to move it to a vote. All in favor of the motion to approve the phase 2 general construction package and authorize the project to proceed with state final plan review and subsequent bidding, say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Any abstentions? All right, motion carries 8-0. Thank you very much. Thank you, Adam.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening.
Good evening.
Now it works.
Yeah, now it works. We have another action item to happily approve a donation in the amount of $4,500 from the Jeffrey PTO to the Jeffrey Elementary School for field trips. I need a motion to accept that. Diane, can I get a second? From Mary Ann, thank you. Any discussion?
Thank you very much to the Jeffrey PTO.
Absolutely. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Any abstentions? Motion carries 8-0. Thank you. And we are going to retreat into our we're going to adjourn into our retreat. Retreat into our retreat. I guess that could work too. I need a motion to adjourn from our board meeting from Becky. Second. Mary Ann. Any discussion? No. All in favor to adjourn at 7:19? Aye. All opposed? Nay. Any abstentions?